Hey guys, all right. So I haven't made a video in a long time, and the reason why I didn't is because I was looking around in the community of Predecessor, and I was thinking to my head, well, there's a lot of content for way better plays than I could ever produce. I don't know enough about MOBAs to do a trial or to tell people on how to officially use these techniques into making them a better player, especially when this game is ever changing and it's in its beta. It's in really, well, not really beta, it's just really early access. I guess it can be a beta, more like an alpha, in between alpha and beta, I guess you could say. But the one thing I did notice, and I did a lot of digging around, is the lore. What was the Paragon lore? And I looked into it, and the gist of it is there is a planet, a main planet, 3 moons, and each moon was named obviously named something different, and then the main planet was named something different. The battles happened on, there's 3 maps, and 2 of them were the moon, and one of them was the main planet. The main planet was the first map, from what I understand. But in any case, the lore was very vivid because there's only voice lines to go off of, and then various things that they leaked on Reddit years ago that you can't even find anymore. I had to look into an old Reddit thread, then I had to find out who the author was. I messaged that guy. Thank goodness that person sent a message back, a couple months later, just letting me know a lot about the lore that the public wasn't really made aware of. So I took that lore and I gutted it out because I felt like it was very necessary. And then I started correcting and started rewriting, and before you knew it, I looked at it and I was just like, wow, this actually could make perfect sense for Predecessor. So what you have in front of you is something that I've been working on. This is just a little bit of a rough draft. Now, obviously, I haven't been working on this in the past 45 days since the last video. I have actually written 32 pages rough draft, all about the lore. Deep dive into the lore. Obviously, everything I'm saying in this series isn't official. Omega Studios hasn't told me that I'm doing the lore officially. No one has said that they're going to use this officially. I'm just doing this right now for my own fruition, and something that I really hope that you guys really enjoy. So today we're going to talk about the foundation of this new world, Predecessor, right? The world that Predecessor is in. So the planet that we're going to be living on, or that we're going to be basing all of the plots and all the stories on, or most of them at least, should I say, is Alurra. Alurra does, it's not mentioned here, but Alurra does have 2 moons and 1 sun. The 2 moons and the 1 sun, obviously the sun's going to be called the sun, but the 2 moons are actually going to be called something, and I haven't really named that yet because I'm actually found some more dirt, I guess you could say, or lost files or whatever on Paragon's lore, and I'm reading that I'm reading that right now, and I'm trying to dissect that and try to utilize as much as I can from Paragon, the original lore, that I'm able to, without having any legal reasons on why Predecessor couldn't use this. There's a reason why I'm going about it in this kind of way. The races in this game, the races in this world didn't really make sense to me. I was trying to look at all the characters in itself, and I really couldn't find out what like anything really. So I dove into a little bit of D&D lore, and at the same time I drove into a lot of fantasy that was very foreign fantasy. I'm talking about like Greek mythology that's twisted into that people twisted into different kind of stories. So then I took races from different variations of those different mythological stories and applied them here. So we have humans, orcs, titans, anthrops, undead, and pixies. These are the races in this world that make up the characters of Predecessor. We have the human city, which is called Nevia, the meaning of discovery and knowledge. Nevia is actually heaven spelled backwards. Nevia is also a term that most people use back in the day, or when I say back in the day, what people use a mythological term is discovery and knowledge. It's also the light, the beam of light, stuff like that. So I like that sense that the humans are all about discovery. They're also all about knowledge. They want to understand this world more than anybody. They don't care what the gods necessarily left behind. They just want to see what they can do for their future. And that's what the humans' mentality is all about. The god that they worship is Minerva. Minerva is the goddess of knowledge and medicine. Kind of makes sense since they named their city after discovery and knowledge, right? Knowledge and medicine. Humans have this mentality, this mental thinking of, we need to think of how we can make our name become immortal. How do we become immortal? And this is their way of basically doing that, is gaining the knowledge of the gods and receiving the best type of medicine they can for their people. Their factions include Wastelanders, United Protectors, and the Decker Foundation, which the Decker Foundation ends up located on the moon in present day of Predecessor. Like right when you start playing the game, right when the game releases, the Decker Foundation's on the moon. But when it first started, it was on Alurra. Really quickly, the Wastelanders are obviously people that are junk heaps. They live in the outskirts of the town. They're not necessarily not welcome in town. They just look down and frown upon because they're mainly junkies or people that have gotten themselves into a lot of trouble, and that's why they're in their way. They're kind of like the homeless people, but not being homeless. They're just very innovative, I guess you could say. United Protectors are kind of like the government. They are the people that police the whole city and the surrounding towns of the human, of the human continent, or the human city, human area, I guess you could say. They are the people that basically utilize the inventions from Decker Foundation, and they utilize it in protecting the human race and the protection of Alurra. They don't really care necessarily about the planet. That's more like secondary. The Decker Foundation is a foundation where a man, I don't know his first name just yet, but he's basically, the Decker family founded this foundation, and they're a bunch of scientists that like to invent various things. Moving right along. Orc City, Khazad-dûr. Khazad-dûr, the meaning of balance and war. The orcs in this world aren't like most orcs in mythology. They're not necessarily about the, I'm going to go take over the world, or I'm going to destroy this city. They're not that selfish, although they are prepared for war and always will be. They have fantastic blacksmiths and armorsmiths, which make them a very, very well-known army. But that's not what they're about. What they care about is their territory. They care about, if they need more territory, they'll get it. But they like their own territory where they're at. Where they're at is kind of in a barren wastelands, like a desert, which has spotted oases all around it, which in those oases actually have really powerful relics underneath them that if you're brave enough to go into the caves in the oasis. The god they worship is Montu, god of war and fertility. They believe, and obviously they can protect themselves with war. They're known for that. That's what they're known for. If you get in war with them, they will destroy you. That is just what they are doing. That is what they do in this universe. They're mostly keep to themselves, like I said. The factions, the Naris and the Khazad-dûrs. The Naris are the orcs that are in the magic. They're into magic. They're into the gods' powers. They're into things like that. It is not necessarily a big faction within the race because it's very looked down upon with using magic. They see it as a shortcut. The Khazad-dûrs are the main civilians. The main civilians are either farmers or soldiers, In most cases, it's both. The orcs do not live near the humans. They actually live on the opposite end of Alurra. And seeing how big this is, Alurra is actually 2 times as big as Earth. So you see that they should never actually have a deep problem with each other. Next is the Titan city, Asteria. Asteria, the meaning of guardians and protectors. The Titans in this world are the oldest race in this world. They were actually considered demigods. But in today's time, when we're talking about in present time, they are just overpowered, basically overpowered, and a little bit taller statured of men, of humans. Their god of worship is Zu, god of protectors, and it's actually the father of the Titans. He is actually the first person. He basically, we're going to go into a deep lore about why they are, but basically you get what a demigod is, right? That's what he did to make a demigod. The faction, only one, and that's Mao. Mao is a faction in this Titan world because there are very few Titans left. This is only why. Hey! My cat, I swear. So there's a very few of them. There are not too many. Anthrop City, Tyron, named after creator of Anthrop. Now, an Anthrop is abbreviation for an Anthropian, and that is a human-like animal. So to give a better depiction on this, it's Rampage and Howie or Hauser from Paragon or Predecessor. That is who we're talking about. So just to give you a little bit of an ends up. They're intelligent animals, right? How they were able to do that is Tyron. Now Tyron is one of Decker's founders. Now he's not Tyron Decker. He's not that. The god they worship is Janus, god of change and meaning, which makes sense because they're ever changing and ever evolving, even faster. That's what they believe. They believe change is good if you let it be good. Their factions is only one because obviously they're a very small faction, the Republic of Freedom and Peace. They use technology from other cities and other civilizations to better themselves, and in turn they better the world. So they don't like evil things or evil people, and they mainly keep to themselves too. You have the undead city, Tartarus, the meaning of pain and anger, god of worship, Hades, god of the netherworlds. Factions, demon hunters and twisted nether. Obviously, these guys are the bad guys in the whole story, right? They're not but there's a little bit of a twist. Some of them are anti-heroes, and some of them are anti-bad guys. They're not necessarily good or bad, some of them. So, depict that. Pixie City. Everblossom Forest, the meaning of Mother Nature. God of worship, Ash, goddess of water and earth. Factions, the Fae and the Forgotten. Now, the Fae and the Forgotten, obviously. The Fae are more of a pixie, and they are obviously the Fae. It looks like a Fae, a human pixie. The Forgotten are people that were born and basically renounced their pixie heritage and cut their wings off. They do a ritual with their wings, and they absorb their power through their wings, they say. And they're basically like shamans. They're like shamans and witch doctors and stuff, and they live on the outskirts of the forest, which they turn into a swamp. So this is the foundation of Predecessor. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you think. I'm going to do episode 2, which is going to be more in depth and talking about the humans. We're going to go full out on each race, on each video. I appreciate the patience on listening to me. Thank you so much for actually giving me this opportunity for doing this. I really do appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Please like, subscribe, give me a comment, give me some ideas to throw a ball around. I really do appreciate it again. You guys have a great day. All right.